LTCM.com.
Old School with DP and J.
They have the run and gun offense coming in. A new head coach that's been given the longest runway of any coach in Wisconsin, new coach in Wisconsin history, to change the program to Cincinnati way, and a new defensive philosophy. They're ripe for the pick.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak. Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Lloyds In Lincoln, with former Syracuse Orange and Long Beach State basketball star Ramel Lloyd Sr. and current Nebraska basketball athlete Ramel Lloyd Jr. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Ramel Sr. and Ramel Jr. Brought to you by Canopy Street Market.
All right, welcome into Ticket Weekends. Again, this is Lloyd and Lincoln. I'm Harrison running the board. We got Ramel Lloyd Sr., Ramel Lloyd Jr., both in studio here with us. And if you want to join the show, start hitting the text line 402-464-5685, as well as streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. So again, plenty of ways to join the show. But guys, how's it going?
Hey, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. We back. I got my partner finally back in the building. After his world tour, I'm happy to see him back in the building. What's up, Ramel? Lloyd,
what's going on? Happy to be back.
Yeah, bring that mic in a little bit.
There we go. Yeah,
there we go. Now we're getting set up here.
Happy to be back.
Yeah.
A little rusty, I see. There we go. A little rusty.
Yeah, we gotta put him up to speed here, Harrison. He been taking too much vacation, man. He don't know how the studio works anymore.
Yeah, but again, for all those listening, we are not at the air show. Again, just unfortunately, yesterday we're good about till 11 o'clock, but as I kind of explained to Ramel Lloyd Sr. In the hallway there, if you've ever been to a concert, you get a bunch of phones all in the same room, that signal goes away real quick. So we're having some Wi-Fi problems out there. So again, you can still go out there. There's Ticket 10 if you want to get some gear, but all the shows, we are not doing the remote, but you can still join us through the streams and through the Sorry Heyman text line. But we're not at the air show today.
Yeah, unfortunate. I mean, I was looking forward to getting over there and doing the show out there. But we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta make it happen. Like you said, still go out, check it out. Such a great event. This week here in Lincoln, as most of you know, has been Navy Week. And Navy Week has been huge. Just a chance for the Navy to come out to different cities in the country that don't normally get to see the Navy do their thing. So it's a great week, great event. They capped it off today. Did you see any of the air show? I've been hearing the planes flying by and the fighter jets all week. So
yeah, I've been able to get and see a little bit of it, even when you're just driving around Lincoln. If you're not at the air show, you can kind of see some of them. I don't know if they're doing warm-ups or whatnot.
Yeah.
But no, it's been awesome. I actually know my girlfriend's watching some of my friends' dogs over at the airport.
Okay.
And she's talking about how crazy it is. They're going all day. But yeah, no, it's super cool. I haven't got a chance to actually go sit there up close and see it. But again, if you have the opportunity to, definitely do it. This doesn't happen very often when you go watch this. Like, it's kind of a rare
I
opportunity.
think I'm going to go after the show. What you think, Mel? How you feel? Now, I'm not an airplane guy. Obviously, Mr. World Traveler, he's okay with airplanes. So I get in the airplane, I get a little nervous sometimes, and I don't like the little drops and dips. So how you think those fighter jets would be? Would you get in one of those, Mel?
For sure. I think it'd be fun. I mean, Am I the one controlling it?
No,
am
you
I
just
I hope
a
not, no.
passenger. Yeah, you control it. We don't want that for the sake of everybody around you. But no, like,
Nah,
would
I
you
wanna fly
fly in one of those?
Yeah, I would do both. I would fly one and fly in it.
Wow. Well, that's crazy. Well, we can go on. We missed Mel here on the show, but we did plan to have some special guests come on the show while we were at the air show, but unfortunately we're not there, so we're going to have them call in. As athletes, we're always looked upon, as somewhat of heroes, superheroes, or people that can look up to just because we're good at a sport. And people admire that. But today we got an opportunity to bring some real heroes on the show at Navy Week. And we're going to have Jill Brown, Lieutenant Commander Jill Brown, join us today. I believe she's calling in on the phone, and she's going to dive into what this Navy Week is all about, and we're happy to have her.
Yep, and we should have her plugged in right now. Jill, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello.
Awesome, absolutely. And again, this is Lloyds in Lincoln. We got Lieutenant Commander Jill Brown from the U.S. Navy, and Ramel Lloyd Sr. I'll kind of let you take over.
Yeah, hi Jill, how you doing? We've been communicating a lot all week, trying to get this thing together. The Navy has been doing a great job this week of showing up to all the local schools and after school programs, and it's just been such an excitement around having you guys in town. Do you want to tell us and tell our audience a bit about Navy Week from your perspective?
Yes, so thank you so much for having us today. We're honored to be on your show. So we have brought the Navy here this past week for Lincoln Navy Week, the first ever Lincoln Navy Week. Today's our last day, but we've had about 50 sailors in town doing different types of community projects. We partnered up with Habitat for Humanity, Food Bank of Lincoln. We also went out to schools throughout Lincoln and had sailors go in and talk about what it's like to be in the Navy. We were at the Salt Dogs baseball game on Thursday night, and we were, of course, now we're here at the air show this weekend. We'll have the Blue Angels performing this afternoon. But yes, the purpose of a Navy Week is to bring the Navy to cities that don't get to see the Navy very often. So we normally would not have a Navy Week event in San Diego or Norfolk because they see the Navy all the time.
Correct.
But we bring the Navy to you to increase awareness and talk about what we do in the Navy and engage with the community. We've loved meeting everybody and sharing our stories and getting to know the people of Lincoln. We've been welcomed here. And today, like I said, today is our last day, but it will definitely not be our last time coming back to Lincoln, Nebraska.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're very happy to have you. The excitement around town has been very high. So, Jill, how is this show? What's going on over there today? Unfortunately, we got stuck over here in the studio. So you got to update us on what's going on over there at the show.
Well, I mean, we're here. We're in a building right now because, of course, we had to call in. But this afternoon, we're just waiting on the Blues. I believe they'll be starting to perform about 3:00 today. The Blue Angels, they're amazing. There'll also be there's all kinds of food vendors here. There's also aircraft here. There's even an aircraft from the Czech Republic that you can go tour.
Oh wow!
So there's all kinds of military aircraft that you can get on and meet the pilots. Plenty of things for kids to do. We'd love people to come out and visit us at our Navy recruiting truck. We're have some cool giveaways and talking about what we do in the Navy. So if you're at the air show or you're coming out to the air show, please come visit us at the Navy booth, and you can't miss us. We've got a bunch of sailors walking around in white uniforms.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
got a few sailors
of course.
here too. So.
Now, did you say Blue Angels?
Yes, the Blue Angels, they're the Navy's elite F-18 pilots. They travel all over the country at the air shows. They fly F-18s, and they do all kinds of really cool maneuvers. They are amazing. If you haven't seen the Blue Angels perform, definitely worth coming out to see them.
Yes, yeah, I wanted you to touch on that a little bit because most people we wouldn't know. I know what it is just because you guys have been in town this week, but a lot of people wouldn't know what the Blue Angels was and how great they are. So that's definitely something you can't miss if you're here in Lincoln. We don't normally get to. Well, I'm gonna say we. Look, I'm already claiming I'm a Lincoln guy now. I guess we actually live in California and of course close to San Diego, so we're very familiar with seeing the Navy around all the time. But here in Lincoln, obviously, they don't get a chance to do that. So if you are free today, it makes sense for you to head on down there and see everything that's going on with the Navy here in town.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I do want to shout out, we got Lieutenant Commander Jill Brown from the U.S. Navy, brought to you on the VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where we understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. So again, shout out to Allo for making these quality phone connections happen so we can actually get some good audio quality coming in through the airwaves. But I do want to ask, you're obviously out there, you're educating people about the Navy. So when you're, people coming down there, what are some things that you want them to take away just by talking to you guys and learning from the Navy?
Well, we want them to learn about the careers that are available to them. I mean, the Navy has so many different careers. I have a couple of my teammates here that would love to talk to you about different opportunities that we have in the Navy. I'm a public affairs officer, and I'm responsible for public relations, getting out and telling the Navy story. We have, I was aircrew in my former career in the Navy, so I got to fly all over the world on aircraft. So we really want to tell people what their Navy does for them, how we're protecting the country, and we want to be able to let the American public that we are here for them and we protect them, but we also are people who want to share what we do, and we're hoping that people come up to us when we're at the air show or wherever we are in the world. We love talking to people, and we love being able to tell people about all the amazing things that we do in the Navy. I've been very fortunate to have a wonderful career of travel, see the world. I've been all over. I've been to places that people never get to see. And so most of our sailors have had opportunities in their careers to get out and see the world. And those are things that, a lot of people don't get to do. We have educational opportunities. You can come in the Navy and get to go to college and get money for your schooling, to get educated, get your college degrees. So there's a lot of programs that we have in the Navy, active duty and reserve programs. You can be in the Navy and be a reservist, being part-time in the Navy. So there's a lot of different programs that we have that people don't know about, but we definitely want to share those and get those out. And that's why we do these Navy Week events.
That's outstanding. I think that's so important, especially for our young people to understand. They don't understand how many different career opportunities are within the Navy. They see the uniforms and they just figure like it's not like navies. You have jobs within the navies that you can do that they're not aware of. The kids are just not aware. So it's very, very important that they understand that there's different opportunities within the Navy to have careers.
Yeah, I remember kind of always getting that when you're in high school and you're getting towards the end, you have those recruiters kind of come through.
Yeah.
And I definitely kind of think about that. And we're like, man, there was an opportunity there to get some really easy money.
We don't know. you don't really know. It's a great career. It's not just like, I guess they figure they look at a movie, they see movies and they see what perception of the Navy is. And I think it's totally different from that.
Absolutely. So I want to ask again, Lieutenant Commander Jill Brown from the U.S. Navy. You talked about that kind of the opportunity for some of these students to enter into the Navy and actually get a little bit of financial help as well. When you're talking about that, what kind of financial help are you offering to those who do decide to maybe enlist in the Navy or even Army or Coast Guard?
Yes. Well, I'm going to go ahead. I have one of our Navy's finest counselors here right next to me, Petty Officer Andrew Tomlinson. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about some of the programs that we have available for people that might want to join us in the Navy.
Absolutely.
Well, good morning. This is Petty Officer Tomlinson, and from an Omaha guy, it's good to come back into the state of Nebraska and get to talk a little bit about the Navy and what we do. Awesome. So to answer your question specifically, anybody coming out of high school, maybe in college, that want to start a career, there's a lot of different jobs that the Navy's going to offer that people aren't going to think about, even aviation and construction, mechanical jobs. And we're going to start somebody off at an entry level and give them a college education and mentorship program to kind of get them wherever they as far as they want to go in that career field. We also offer just a lot of bonuses. They're going to be job specific. We can go from your entry level jobs in mechanics. Some of those jobs are going to have around a $20,000 bonus, up to $75,000 if you qualify for nuclear engineering. So really, the sky's the limit, and there's just such a big organization and so many available jobs that you can pick from. And it's much more than people think of for the Navy, and that goes for both the full-time active duty sailor and for the opportunities in the reserves.
Those sound like some great opportunities. Can you tell us, like, what would a typical day be like? So you say you have a career as you can be a mechanic, you can do a construction. Now, how does that work? Like, what are your naval obligations opposed to just doing like those things that you mentioned earlier? How does that look for a candidate?
Sure, and it's going to be very job specific. So not every day in the Navy is going to look the same for every sailor. For myself, in a previous Navy career, I was a cryptologist stationed on a shore station and also stationed on a destroyer out of Norfolk, Virginia. So those days are going to differ a little bit.
Right.
But most you're going to train, you're going to work in your job field, you're going to be able to cross train. It's like you're on a ship. You're going to learn obviously your job, you're going to perform your job, you're going to do everything from damage control to firefighting and making sure that ship works in all facets. Wow, they also give you time to go to college. I finished my college degree on active duty in the Navy, and I was completely paid for. I still have my Montgomery GI Bill, but I got to graduate college with no debt. So it's a lot of learning, a lot of training, and then just going out there and putting the mission first. And
yeah, that's again, that's kind of what I'm glad to hear. You think about when you're talking about when you get those opportunities to do the Army, Navy, military, whatever it may be, anywhere in the military, you kind of forget about that opportunity, and they will take care of you financially. If you want to go to college, just because you're going to the Navy, Air Force, whatever it may be, there's still that opportunity to get that financial help. So again, we're speaking to Andrew is it Thomason? Am I saying that correctly?
Thomas. Yeah,
perfectly.
Good after Tom.
And again, I want to get one more question here. So when you're talking about that kind of time period when you're thinking about joining the Navy, what does that recruitment period look like? How long does it look like to kind of get fully instituted into the Navy?
It kind of depends on what part of life you're in. If you're a high school senior right now, your journey is going to begin by talking to a recruiter. You go through the medical process, and you actually to pick whatever job you wanted to do in the Navy. And then you have a ship date to basic training sometime after graduation. That can be a little longer in the process, but if you're someone who's out of high school, that process can begin within a few weeks, from meeting a recruiter to taking your physical to going to basic training.
Absolutely. And then what is one thing, that you would want a high schooler that's maybe thinking about this kind of career path or trajectory, that you'd want them to know that, hey, if they're going to do this Navy thing and they're going to be serious about it, what is one key takeaway, that mentality they're going to need to kind of make sure they get through it?
I think just having the mentality to be open to learn new things. As I said before, starting as a kind of a small town guy and then in Omaha in high school, I never expected to see the 26 different countries that I was able to go to, or being stationed overseas, or just life on a ship. So keeping that open-mindedness, I think would be a quality asset anybody looking at the military to embrace.
I hear that a lot about the travel. Is that going to be like one of the best parts of the job? I'm hearing that from a lot of you guys.
It's the best part for me. I mean, I was stationed for a year on a tropical island, and I couldn't beat that. And like I said, on the destroyer I was on, we went to 26 different ports, and it's just world travel. I didn't have to spend a dime to get there, so it can't be beat.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's kind of fascinating. You can kind of get, not only just educated through there, but culturally educated too. You get those opportunities to see the world at a young age. Ramel Lloyd Jr. just got to go to Spain. I'm sure even just kind of having those experiences, you get out there, you get to see the world a little bit. But we got a little bit of time left before our next break. Before we kind of go to break, do you have anything else you want to get out, Ramel Lloyd Sr.?
How about you, Mel? You've been a little quiet over there. I'm just so intrigued by all of the different opportunities. Like I said, just being an athlete growing up, it never was an option for me because I was going to school to play basketball and, being part of a team. But, the Navy and our armed forces is the biggest and the strongest team that you could ever be a part of. So just learning a little bit more about it now. I'm just excited to, in my workforce, I deal with young men and young women and trying to get them ready for work and life after high school. So I'm super intrigued to learn more about this and pass the information on down to the young people that I work with.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we'll do. Again, we got a couple more segments left. This is Lloyds in Lincoln. I'm Harrison Arns, one of the ones and twos. We got Ramel Lloyd Sr. and Ramel Lloyd Jr. back in studio here with us. And again, we're talking to some people from the U.S. Navy. So if you're interested, you can always just go to their website or again, tune into the show. Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685, as well as we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951. And again, we'll catch you guys on the other side of the break. This is Lloyds in Lincoln.
Warning, this ad will use the F word often, so listen at your own risk. Family fun, fun with friends, freedom from fuel, free Yeti cooler, free driveway delivery. Hey, this is Carl from Nebraska Golf Carts and Priced Right Auto, and we have the all-electric Bentelli Fun Carts, and they are a blast. Plenty of fun colors, and these street-legal carts come with both 4 and 6 passenger. Tell us you heard us on the ticket and get a free Yeti cooler with your purchase. Hurry, supply is limited. Check them out at 1235 West O in Lincoln or NebraskaGolfCarts.com.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zip line gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
What happens when students come to school every day on time and ready to learn? They improve academically, become more responsible, manage their time well, and learn the value of education. Whether your child is starting preschool or preparing to graduate, family support and a great attitude towards education is important. Help your child come to school every day ready to learn. Make this the best school year yet.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, Order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa,
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lloyds in Lincoln with your hosts, Ramel Lloyd Sr. and Ramel Lloyd Jr.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. Again, I am Harrison Arns running the board. Again, we got across the table from me, Ramel Lloyd Sr., Ramel Lloyd Jr. As fitting, this is Lloyds in Lincoln. Again, you guys can join the show. Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685 as well. Streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo, channel 951. And again, we want to shout out Allo VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where we understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We shout out Allo because we do have some people from the U.S. Navy here talking through with us. And again, wouldn't have the great audio quality if it wasn't for Allo. So we appreciate those guys for sponsoring the ticket. And again, we got plenty more show left. But I believe over the break, Ramel Lloyd Sr., who do we have up next?
Well, I've been talking.
I believe it's a pilot. Is what it sounds like.
Who's on now? Is anybody on now? Because we have so much information here to share. Like we won't. I mean, this hour is gonna go by so fast. So I'm kind of leaving it up to Lieutenant Commander Jill Brown to let us know who she wants to talk next and what they want to talk about. Because we're really just giving this show over to them so they can let everyone know what they're doing and what they're up to. So who we have on now? Do we have anybody on there online?
Yes, so I'm going to introduce you all to Mass Communications Specialist Petty Officer First Class Fred Gray, and he's going to share how the Navy and sports have so many commonalities, and I'll let him take the floor. So here you go.
How you guys doing today? Good?
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing great. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having us here in the great state of Nebraska. It's great to be here. Well, as I said, I'm Petty Officer First Class Fred Gray, and I work for the Navy Talent Acquisition Group Northern Plains area. And let's go ahead and just talk about a little bit about sports real quick. So with the Navy recruiting and stuff like that, the sports programs that you guys run here and pretty much in all high schools across the land, they're the types of the exact people that we actually look at when we are out there kind of trying to gain those potential future sailors. From the coaches, the teachers and staff, they train that resiliency, they train that toughness, they train that mental stability within these players that we look for, and they most of the time are a very, very good fit for a career in military service and ideally the Navy. And a couple other fun things about the Navy, just because you join the military doesn't necessarily mean that you won't be able to compete anymore as well. Like we have the United States Naval Academy, which has all of their collegiate level programs as well. Back in the past, we used to do what was called the Carrier Classic, where we usually had like an NCAA tournament that was actually on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. And that was something that we used to do in the past. I'm unaware if they have any inclinations of moving that forward in future years, but that was just something to kind of plug that sports. So sports is a very, very big thing with the United States Navy. I've actually known a couple of sailors to compete in competitive powerlifting competitions with the Navy baseball teams. We have all sorts of things like that. And another thing that I would like to add too, just another fun fact, is that the flight deck of an aircraft carrier, just to give people an idea of how big that ship is It is approximately 3.5 football field lengths long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'll never forget being a little junior sailor with my little sea bag and walking up, and I'm between the USS John C. Stennis and USS Nimitz, and I just dropped both my bags right between them on here, and I just looked over on both sides, and I thought two skyscrapers were laying down in the water next to me.
Wow. Yeah, that's super impressive.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, we had the Harlem Globetrotters come aboard when I was there. Peyton Manning, when he was still playing, when he was there, we had a chance to come aboard and meet sailors. So it's something that, that we take into consideration, people's ability to compete. And we also have, especially for those athletes out there, we actually have programs, gyms, fitness programs. So, can't be in the military and, not be physically fit. So we have fitness programs and all sorts of things like that aboard these ships as well, and programs throughout the fleet. So we always like to take care of our people.
That's outstanding. Now, just a little tidbit here. I was a Harlem Globetrotter at one point in my career. I didn't get a chance to get in. What happened? What was going on during my years? Let me see what year that was, man. I didn't get that chance. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, just tying back in, with our show and our community, here at the radio station, we have we're sports oriented. We have a bunch of young men and women from the University of Nebraska that have their own shows on here. And there is a lot of great comparisons, between how you guys work and how athlete is used to working, as, everyone trying to play their role to the best ability to achieve one common goal, basically is the thing. So it's definitely very relatable. So if you are an athlete, or if you do love competitive sports, you do love team camaraderie, you love achieving a goal as one and being part of something that's bigger than yourself, this is the place for you.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's like one team, one fight is something that we say very often. Fight like you train like you fight. That's another thing that we say as well when we go through our training evolutions and we do our, drills aboard the ship. And everybody is got a very integral role. As Lieutenant Commander Brown said earlier, it's like we're very job specific. So we rely on the men and women who serve every day to carry out their job and do that job specifically and, with a level of honor and integrity. And so that way we can, rely on one another to accomplish missions throughout, everywhere around the world.
Yeah, outstanding. Sounds familiar, son?
Just like basketball team.
Just like basketball.
Yeah.
And the thing about it,
basketball, football, volleyball, everybody has a specific job, task, role, especially in sports. And, it's very, very good for us to have athletes come into the Navy or show interest in the Navy as well, because they get it. They understand that baseline mentality of working as part of the team.
Yeah, for sure. Now we want to make sure that we're understanding that the athlete can relate to being to running the way the Navy would run, but we want to make sure we understand that winning and losing basketball and football games does not compare to what the Navy does for our country. So we just want to make sure we put that out there. We just say that that'd be a great fit if you are a competitor, if you are an athlete, to make the transition over to protecting our country as well. So we want to thank you for coming on and sharing that with us.
Yeah, and it's like you said, but that's why we all have our brothers and sisters in arms. We support one another. We may compete a little bit for the Army, Navy, Marine, Air Force, Coast Guard, but one team, one fight. We all rely on one another. And if one of us starts failing maybe at their task or job, we're more than willing to come in and help our brothers and sisters back up so we can accomplish that goal.
Absolutely. And I got to ask a question, and this one's to serve my own kind of curiosity. There's a college football game that I circle every year, and a lot of people do. Army versus Navy. What is that kind of week for you guys? How exciting is that kind of build up for that game? And, I just kind of curious, what is the excitement level on your guys' end? Because I know me and a lot of other college football fans, that's one that we all circle and be sure to watch.
Well, you are lucky today because I have a commander, Jen Franco, sitting right next to me, who is a graduate from the Naval Academy. So she's going to share some of the excitement of the Naval Academy games.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for having us on the show. It is so much fun that time of year. I work at the Pentagon currently, And, you all here say, go Big Red. And Navy ship that's named after Nebraska, USS Nebraska, is your ship.
Wow.
We're so proud to represent Nebraska. And on the business card for the CO, he even says, go Big Red.
Wow.
And, on his business card, the ship's nickname. But when you're working out of the Pentagon, we say, go Navy, beat Army. And they decorate the doors with like different kinds of decorations during this time of the year. The academies bring their bands and their cheerleaders, and they run through the halls, and they kind of taunt each other. I also have a nephew that lives here in Nebraska, and he was an Army Guard for a while. And I send him things like Navy T-shirts and, basically tell him, go Navy, beat Army during that week. And so it's not only something that we do in the Navy, to take on that pride, but I brought it into Nebraska and my own family to bring that healthy competition forward. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's incredible. Almost sounds like Nebraska and Iowa.
Yeah,
That kind of back and forth.
definitely sounds like fun. A little family rivalry
yeah.
going on in there. It's always good.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. We talked about the aspect of the excitement. What is kind of something that you want these student athletes to know that are in the Navy, that that possibility out there of still kind of getting that full college experience? You talked about it, right? The cheerleaders are there. You still kind of have that support. What is something you kind of want those athletes to know that are maybe thinking about the Navy that kind of ensures that you're still going to get kind of that college athletic experience? Oh, we might have lost him there.
No, this is Petty Officer Thomason again. So some of those high school athletes that are looking for the full college experience, they can look at things like the Naval Academy. They can also look at programs like Navy ROTC. And one of the big buildings right next to the Memorial Stadium here in Lincoln is the Naval Science Building. My brother actually went through that program. So if someone's looking to have both a military career and a college experience in sports, that's definitely doable.
Absolutely. Is that something you guys ever thought of? I've never asked you this personally. Did you guys ever consider going in a military route?
No, for me, like I said earlier, I mean, we, just raised to be athletes and heading towards the direction of getting the scholarships to play in college. So it was never, in the forefront of my mind. And Ramel?
No, not necessarily, but if I could live another life, there would be one thing I would like to try. If I had multiple lives to do different things, I would definitely choose that at some point.
Air Force, Navy, or Coast Guard?
Of course, the Navy. We got our friends on the line. Definitely
go Navy. Go Navy. No, but it's like I said, if you want to get scholarships and athletics and stuff, obviously you dedicate pretty much all of your young life to trying to be good at your sport, so you can do that. But the opportunities there, like we said, most coming up, or at least when I was coming up, I didn't understand even what all those opportunities was about. So happy to have the Navy on and kind of share all of those opportunities that they do have.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to have these guys on again, because there's a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of career paths out there. We got a little bit of time here left before our next break. And is this the last break we got with you guys, or do we have you guys for another segment after this one? I don't want to impede on your guys' time.
We can stay if you want to keep us around. We're available.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's a lot of good things to get from you guys, and you guys said yourself, it's not very often that we kind of get this whole event here in Lincoln. So I want to ask you guys, but I have one more question before we go to break. You guys obviously offer a wide variety of careers. What is kind of some of those careers that you're offering? And is that branch, continuing to grow and evolve, where you guys are offering, even more different types of careers?
So the Navy does offer a large variety of careers. If there's a young man or woman that would like to look at anything from special warfare from the Navy SEALs to SWIC to diver programs to mechanics and aviation or ground mechanics, electronics, anything from medicine or cutting edge science, any job you can think of. For photography, I'm getting the hand sign over here for photography. If you think of it as like a small community, every job that's done in that community, the Navy has to have a job or a rate that does that specifically for the Navy.
Yeah.
So kind of the sky's the limit. Anything you can think of, that job is going to be in the Navy and available.
Absolutely. And then does the Navy kind of help guide you and letting you realize what your natural skills are and what you're kind of good of, and suggesting like, hey, this might be a career path that you might excel at?
They do. And with the starting with the ASVAB program, which is our mental aptitude test. And that program has really expanded over the years. It's not just an IQ test. It'll show you what your strengths and weaknesses are. We come into the high schools and we can talk specifically if someone's stronger in math or science or isn't as strong in one of those areas. Any relatable job field they could do outside of the Navy as well. So we'll try to prepare them for success while they're in the Navy and also prepare them for success eventually when they're out of the Navy.
Absolutely. And with that being said, I think it's a good point to go ahead and put a pin on it. This is Lloyds in Lincoln. Again, shout out everyone from the U.S. Navy joining in on the show. I know we kind of got a mixed bag and we got the phone call going on, but we had to call an audible. Again, not at the air show, but you can still watch the shows on the streams, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo, Channel 951, as well as streaming on the FM airwaves. So be sure to tune in. One more segment left with Lloyds in Lincoln. We'll catch you guys on the other side of the break.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop feed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
The sweet relief of air conditioning after a hot day in the summer sun. For only $2.88 a day, LES helps power life's special moments and your comfort. Learn more at les.com/value.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Donnie Nelson kind of was doing a little, backyard boogieing with
Business on the side.
With Mark Cuban in the background. Moves are being done and things are happening to which you don't really know about. That seems to me what happened in this situation. Things were going on, conversations was being had at the highest levels, and you're not in on the party.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
You're going to have to run the ball. They're going to run the ball, dude. I'm trying to tell you. Listen, if they throw the ball around the yard, the games are going to get ugly, okay? If we go out and we ball control, we got a shot to maybe win some games. But if we go out there, man, I'm telling you, and go fun and gun, I don't think we have the guns to do that. I don't think that Jeff Sims is that guy. I think Jeff Sims is a versatile quarterback. We might see a little bit of option. It'd be nice.
Yeah, there you go.
A little bit of fullback in there.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lloyds in Lincoln with your hosts, Ramel Lloyd Sr. and Ramel Lloyd Jr.
All right, welcome back to Lloyds in Lincoln here on Ticket Weekends. And again, want to shout out the U.S. Navy. We've had a handful of members go ahead and hop on the phone line and talk to us and give us all sorts of good information. And again, be sure to head out to the air show. If you haven't seen it before, it's not like this happens very often. So again, definitely be sure to check that out. Blue Angels, I'm not sure when the next time you're going to be able to see them comes around. So be sure to check that out. And again, if you want to join the show, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685, as well as we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. Plenty of ways to join the show. But we did get one from the text line, and I'll let our guest over the phone answer this one. This one comes from Notorious BIB, and he's curious about the training of the Navy. And again, you guys can answer this, whether Lieutenant Commander Jill wants to answer or anybody else on the other side of the line. Do the Coast Guard people go through same basic training as the Navy? And again, I'll let either of you guys answer that one.
Well, this is Petty Officer Thomason again. So the Coast Guard training and the Navy training is going to be different. Our basic training for the enlistees is going to be in Great Lakes, Illinois for 10 weeks. And the follow-on training is going to be job specific, and that can be anywhere in the country. So in my case, it was basic training in Great Lakes, Illinois, followed on by a school in Pensacola, Florida, and then another technical school in Winter Harbor, Maine. But they would be separate.
Okay, so there you go. And so for the texter listening out there, they would differentiate a little bit. They would be separate. But since we got a little bit of time here, you guys have had some time down in Lincoln. I kind of want to get your guys' perspective. You guys are traveled at this point. I want to see where Lincoln, Nebraska kind of sits for you guys. What has you guys been experienced in Lincoln, Nebraska so far? What are those first thoughts?
So this is Lieutenant Commander Brown, Jill Brown. Yes, I would say Lincoln is one of the absolute friendliest cities I've ever been to. We have been welcomed here. Like I said, we've had 50 sailors here in Lincoln doing community projects, making a difference in the community. And the people have just embraced us being here. They've come up and I go wherever I go. If I'm in a uniform, I have the people from Lincoln coming up and asking me. They're thanking me for my service. So I would say you guys here are definitely top of my list. I'm already planning a trip back to Lincoln after Navy Week just to come back and visit again. What about you guys?
It's awesome.
Yeah, This is Commander Jen Franco. I have family here, brother Chad that lives in York, and my dad's buried in York. I have stepmom and brother that lives in Valley, and I've got a brother and sister that live in La Vista, Omaha proper. And, you know, I've always had a special heart for Nebraska. A lot of times people say, why Nebraska? Especially where I grew up most of my life was in California. And it's really about the people, and how that translates to Navy Week is you all out there in the community taking time to get to know your sailors, taking time to get to know your Navy during very record hot weather in a lot of community, you know, coming out and just wanting to know a little bit about us and giving us the opportunity to thank you. I mean, you're paying tax dollar support to this Navy and how we exist, and being able to protect the sea lines and the trade and commerce and our way of life only happens when we approach it together. So whether or not you're serving in the Navy, if you're supporting the Navy in any way, you're part of our family, you're part of our Navy family, and we really thank Nebraska and the city of Lincoln for making us your family too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And,
go
ahead. Sorry. No.
Petty Officer First Class Fred Gray, and just to kind of add on, this is my first time in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I just had a blast. I went down to O Street a couple of times, and I got the chance to meet your local college students and just people around there, and they were just fantastic to talk to. Like they said, they were very embracing. I got to go out to a bunch of the events, engage with the high schools, engage with the athletes and the people that attended the Saltdown games, and they were all just wonderful people. That Midwestern hospitality is the thing, I can absolutely say, and I can't wait to come back again and just kind of just meet and greet more people from the States. They were just fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. That kind of brought us into what our next questions was. I mean, we're Ramel and I, Ramel's from California, I'm from New York, and we kind of feel the same. We have the same sentiments about Lincoln and the people here with that Midwestern mentality. It's we're kind of adapting and adjusting to it too, and that's some of the things we love about Lincoln. And you did say he was down on O Street, right? We know what's down there, some things. What are some of you guys' favorite? Did you guys have any favorite restaurants, or any favorite places to hang out, any coffee spots, anything like that?
I was going to say I'm from New Jersey originally, and I live in Arlington, Virginia. We definitely do not have Runzas.
Yeah,
so I've been there
there you
3
go.
times. Probably don't need to go there that much, but yes, Runzas for sure. And I really like Laszlo's. We've eaten there a couple times, and we went
that's
to
a good spot.
Fleetwood downtown, which I think is a newer restaurant.
Yeah.
You do here in Nebraska, I will say, you do have the absolute best steaks ever.
There you go. There you go. I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Well, I want to say we got about 3 minutes left. Before we get out of here, I want to ask you guys, is there anything that you want our listeners to know about the U.S. Navy, or any wrap-up points where they can find you guys, get in touch before we get out of here?
Well, I just want to say to listeners that on behalf of the Navy, on behalf of Lincoln Navy Week and the sailors that were all here this past week, we would like to thank you all for supporting us, for coming out and getting to know us. We hope to bring the Navy back. I know we made a difference, because many people after we did our community projects sent me emails or sent me a message and said how appreciative they were that the Navy came in and helped them with different projects. So we just want to say thanks to everybody on behalf of the Navy, and you can follow us. We have 15 Navy Week events a year, so next year we'll start a whole nother schedule of Navy Weeks throughout the United States. You can follow us on @Navy Outreach, and we're on Instagram and Facebook, and then we have a website, outreach.navy.mil. So we would love you all to follow our Navy Week program, #Navy Week, and
go
That's perfect.
Love to hear it.
No better way to kind of put a stamp on it there. And again, I do want to say thank you and appreciate Lieutenant Commander Jill Brown from the U.S. Navy and all those who hopped on the phone. I know it was a situation where we're kind of passing the phone around there, but it worked out great. And it was just awesome to hear from those guys and all the great work they do. And again, it's important to support those guys for the sacrifices they make and show up to their show today. It's also a fun time to go ahead and say hi and support them.
We're heading down.
yeah, thank you so much. We're going to head back out to the air show.
Enjoy the rest of your time
See you
here.
all out there.
Thanks
Please
for
come by the
coming on,
Navy booth.
guys. Appreciate you.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Again, shout out to Lieutenant Commander Joe Brown in the U.S. Navy. That's Romel Lloyd Sr., Romel Lloyd Jr. I'm Harrison running the 1s and 2s. We will catch you guys next Sunday.